Look at a map today, and the Strait of Hormuz immediately stands out as a tense geopolitical flashpoint. It is a narrow maritime corridor heavily patrolled by destroyers and surveillance drones, managing a massive share of the world's daily energy transit. Yet wrapped in that military tension is a profound historical paradox. The water these warships patrol is named after the ancient world's ultimate deity of absolute goodness, light, and wisdom. To untangle this 4,000-year contradiction, we are drawing on a historical timeline curated and presented by Pawan Thakur of Thakur Property Consultancy. The research reveals that this geography acts as a liquid palimpsest. The modern naval chess matches happening right now sit directly on top of fossilized linguistic shifts and ancient divine conflicts. Thousands of years ago, in the ancient Indo-Iranian borderlands, a simple phonetic split drove a wedge between two massive cultures. The Sanskrit S sound naturally shifted to an H in the Avestan tradition of Iran. This chart maps how that sound shift carried the region's most sacred word with it. In Vedic Sanskrit, the supreme lord of wisdom was called Asura Medha. As that name traveled west into Persia, the pronunciation shifted. Asura became Ahura. Medha evolved into Mazda. Over centuries, Ahura Mazda compressed into the Middle Persian Ormazd, settling finally as the modern name we know today, Hormuz. This table shows that the linguistic fracture ran much deeper than pronunciation. When the cultures split, their definitions of the sacred literally inverted. The Vedic word for a shining deity, Deva, became the Zoroastrian word for a demon, Deva. The ancient world had drawn a permanent ideological line in the sand. It was the birth of strict dualism, a worldview built on the absolute separation between the forces of order and the forces of chaos. In the Zoroastrian tradition, the universe is locked in an uncompromising war. On one side is Ahura Mazda, the creator of light, truth, and life. On the exact opposite side stands Vaiyu, a destructive spirit whose sole purpose is to dismantle that order. The ancient texts describe a brutal mythological arms race. When Ahura Mazda created 16 beautiful, fertile lands, Vaiiu countered with a precision strike of 16 plagues. He weaponized nature itself, unleashing lethal winters, devastating diseases, and swarms of flies to rot the perfection Ahura Mazda had built. As Ahura Mazda's creations multiplied, the earth became severely overcrowded. To solve this, the deity approached the first mortal, Yima, granting him a golden ring and a jeweled dagger. With these tools, Yima physically stretched the landmass of the earth to accommodate the population of humans and animals. But Vaiiu prepared a devastating counterattack, a sudden, apocalyptic winter designed to freeze and extinguish every living soul across the fertile earth. Warned by Ahura Mazda, Yima constructed the Vara, a massive subterranean bunker where he safely stored the highest quality seeds of humans, animals, and plants to outlast the ice. For the people living in those harsh borderlands, mapping the universe as a war between order and chaos provided a psychological framework to survive a deeply unpredictable environment. They didn't stop at storytelling. The ancients actively calculated celestial order. Modern analysis reveals that texts like the Rig Veda function as an encrypted astronomical hard drive, storing precise mathematical data within daily religious rituals. This visualization demonstrates a key piece of that data, the ratio of 108. The distance between the Earth and the Sun is roughly 108 times the Sun's diameter. The same geometric rule applies to the Earth and the Moon. Vedic practitioners observed and encoded this exact mathematical reality thousands of years ago. This diagram illustrates how they translated that math into physical architecture through the Agni Kayana fire altars. The complex falcon shape was designed as a precise vertical map of the universe, aligning the Earth, the atmosphere, and the sky. Every measurement served a tracking function. The perimeter was built using exactly 360 enclosing stones to represent the days of the nominal year. The asymmetrical placement of specific bricks allowed practitioners to map the uneven, shifting path of the sun as the seasons changed. Ancient religion was a mathematically precise mechanism. By constructing these specific geometric shapes, they actively enforced celestial order onto the physical earth. Celestial perfection rarely survives contact with human ego. By the 7th century, the geography we now call the Strait of Hormuz was guarded by a Sasanian military commander tasked with holding the empire's southern defensive lines. He happened to bear that ancient divine name. But while his namesake represented infinite cosmic intelligence and light, the mortal commander Hormuz was defined by extreme arrogance and fatal vanity. As a leader of the elite heavy cavalry, his prestige was a literal geopolitical posture. He famously rode into battle wearing a jewel-encrusted crown valued at 100,000 dirhams, an exclusive status symbol usually reserved for the emperor's innermost circle. The word that once signified the absolute triumph of order over chaos had degraded into a physical marker of human prestige and imperial territory. That arrogance reached its limit in 633 AD, during the Battle of Kazima, when the Sasanian forces clashed with the advancing Islamic army led by Khalid ibn al-Walid. Terrified that his own frontline soldiers might break ranks and retreat, Hormuz resorted to a brutal tactic. He ordered his elite infantrymen to be physically chained together on the battlefield, attempting to enforce a rigid, unbreakable order through iron. The strategy backfired entirely. Hormuz challenged Khalid to a duel, secretly plotting to have hidden archers ambush the general. The ruse was spotted and neutralized. The Sasanian lines collapsed under the weight of their own chains, and Khalid beheaded the commander. This map highlights the geographic choke point where these historical threads converge. The intensely militarized waterway making headlines today sits precisely in the shadow of this history. The standoff in these waters carries the weight of its namesake. It represents a modern stage for a 4,000-year-old struggle, the attempt to impose a rigid, calculated order onto a world of strategic chaos. This profound connection between ancient astronomy, mythology, and modern geopolitics was researched and curated by Pawan Thakur,